Hello, everybody, and welcome back to ArdaCraft. I am joined once again by the founder and owner of ArdaCraft, Fornad. How's it going?
Very well, yeah. How are you?
Good. So we left off last episode at the Shire, and basically the Shire is just too much to contain, too much goodness to contain to one episode. So we thought, hey, let's split this up and do this in two. So this is part two. If you want to click on part one, it'll probably be in the playlist just above. But before we get to that, if you want to check out the server yourself, you just go to ardacraft.me and there's a launcher. You can just click on it and you can join here. You could be here in about 1 minute. So it's really very cool server. Beautiful thing. They're recreating the books, Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. All right, Fornad, take it away.
All right, awesome. So today we are in the Marish. So the Marish was a kind of easterly region of the Shire, very low-lying, quite sort of marshy. But the hobbits around here have kind of put a lot of drainage ditches in, have farmed it, have kind of civilized it and turned it into one of the nicer areas in the Shire. I mean, I say that all areas in the Shire are nice. It's very home-like. But this area was passed through by the hobbits on their way east as they left the Shire. So they did see some locations in it, some of which we will explore today. So we're starting off here in a village called Stock. This was not ever visited in the books, though it was mentioned. At one point, Pippin suggests they take a route through Stock in order to visit the Golden Perch, which is a famous inn here, an inn famous for its ale. So they decided to avoid that because they would just end up getting drunk and getting very delayed. But of course, it was an area that we had to build anyway. So just wandering here. This is the Golden Perch itself. Something I should have mentioned maybe in the last video is that each inn in the Shire, because we have so many custom paintings, each inn has its own custom painting.
Oh wow!
So you can see here that this is the custom painting for the Golden Perch.
Oh, that's cool.
But every inn that you go to will have its own little design. So it gives a kind of custom feel to each build, which is really nice, I think.
Yeah, that's super cool. That's super cool, man. Boy, we talked about this several tours ago, but the option to have more paintings is, oh man, that's such a game changer.
Yeah. So again, I mean, Stock is just one of many. Again, you can see that the architectural style of the Shire, that the mix of thatch and grass roof houses is kind of distinctive to the Shire. But yeah, you can see, it's very rural. It's very kind of peaceful and cozy in its design. The one thing that stands this region out more than others is that they have quite heavy use of brick. Because they're quite low-lying, there'd be a lot of kind of clay around here, and they'd be able to use that. So again, it's we're able to kind of have regional distinctions, even within an area kind of as small as the Shire.
And that, like the clay, I assume that was not mentioned in the book, right? Or there aren't pictures of this that Tolkien sketched or anything. So that was just, you guys just thought about it. And you're like, well, it's kind of low-lying. There'd probably be clay here. Let's just build
yes and no. So actually, the farmhouse that we're about to come to, or kind of coming to soon, Farmer Maggot's farm, was said to be made out of brick. So that's kind of where we started, but we kind of thought about it, and as you say, we kind of expanded out from there. Again, with the low-lying side of things, you can see we're on a causeway at the moment, so the opposite of the sunken inroads that you've spoken about, this one is raised above the landscape.
This is brilliant.
And that is because of, when it floods, you still have a usable road to get from place to place.
That's so brilliant. So good. Yeah, this is so great. Yeah, really nice. Your attention to detail on all the really little things is just unmatched. It's just amazing. Well,
and this is how you make so we were talking about how important, how it's good to have, hills and stuff in your builds.
Yeah.
If you have an area which you know to be flat in the lore, I've never seen this before. Is this a ruined house? See, I own the server and I still find cool places that I've literally never seen. Yeah, this is a ruined, burned, old house. Wow.
That's really cool.
That's really nice. What was I saying? Yeah, so if you have an area which you know to be flat, right, you can still do cool and interesting stuff with it, right? It doesn't have to be boring. And that's what we've done here.
Man, I'm so happy that I have a new computer so I can just get on here and just walk around. Like, I need to do what I should do before I record every single episode in my own world. I should walk around here for 5 minutes and then go back there and be like, okay, now I know, now I know what I need to do. Because like sometimes I look at something like, yeah, it looks good, and then I come here, I'm like, no, my area doesn't look good. It looks like crap. This looks amazing. Like it's just a different level of building that y'all do here. It's really fantastic. I probably sound like I'm just I'm talking you up, and I guess I am, but this is fantastic building.
Well, thank you. I mean, we do put a lot of work in for sure. Hopefully it comes out and hopefully it shows. So if we come here, this place here is something that you see in the books. You do briefly hear about this in the movie, but it's kind of in the wrong place and kind of chopped around. So this is Farmer Maggot's house, or Farmer Maggot's farmhouse, and you can see surrounded by this nice brick wall. You got a big farmhouse here, and then a few farm buildings and stuff. This is a place which they visit in the books. Frodo was famously terrified of Farmer Maggot and his dogs because when he'd been younger, he was chased off the land by the dogs, and Farmer Maggot said if he ever came back, he'd set his dogs on him. So we have that detail, and then they came here, and Farmer Maggot's very friendly to them and gave them some mushrooms and kind of sheltered them on their way on their journey for a little while. So it's a very pleasant little detail. And when we do our audiobook tours, which is something we do occasionally, so what we'll do is we'll go around the server listening to the audiobook of Lord of the Rings and kind of following along in game, which is really nice, and it really gives a sense of kind of how much work we've put in, because when a place is described, you're like, oh right, okay, it's this is how it looks, and it's a really nice way to experience the story and indeed experience the world.
Yeah.
So
this is great. Yeah, this is great. Do you stream those audiobook tours, or is there any way to watch that?
We haven't streamed them before. I think when we should really in the future. We'll get a streamer on board, right, to do it.
Yeah.
That would be really nice. It's something we'd have to consider doing. It's always one of my favorite things to do on here is to do an audiobook tour, because they are just so immersive, and so you just feel the world in a way that you don't in any other way. So it's really cool. So just wandering down the road here again to Rushy, another one of the villages in the Marish. Something I maybe should have mentioned at the start of the Shire series is that players may have seen the Shire before on the server, but we have entirely redone, or we are in the process of nearly entirely redoing the villages in the Shire. Not content with having done them once, we are planning on doing them again, because we've had so many new blocks over the past few years. We've had so many new, or just new ways of building and looking at the world. And going back to the Shire, we realised that hang on, we could do a better job here and we could improve. So the Shire has been improved, or is in the process of being improved. So Hobbiton has been done, a lot of areas have been done, and the plan is to have it all sort of polished up and updated by the end of the year. Nice. And it looks. The difference is if you could compare this to the old Marish or the old Rushy or whatever, you would see an enormous difference.
That you had mentioned that in an earlier tour about that you were going to redo it, or you were redoing it, and I actually meant to ask why? Because I've been in the Shire before, but unfortunately it's been long enough that I don't really remember how it's different, and I'm kind of kicking myself because it would be really nice to see the process from some real master builders of what might look good, and then you're like, no, it's good, it's not great, and take it down and make it great. And I'd love to see some before and after shots somehow.
Yeah, I could maybe send you a before and after shot, certainly of Hobbiton. You can see what that used to look like.
Oh, that'd be great.
Now, Hobbiton is a real big distinction because the original one, we kind of based the layout very roughly on Tolkien's watercolor, but in the new one, it's a lot closer to what he actually drew and what he actually had in mind. So, it's a cool distinction.
Oh, this is really good. I think your smoke, texture has changed, or whatever the glass that you're using for smoke puffs, and it is flawless.
It's a lot nicer, isn't it? So we used to use I can get it out for you actually. Or is it smoke? So we used to use this, which should be animated. Yeah, mm-hmm. So we used to use that.
Yeah. Right,
which it looks okay.
Yeah.
But if you look at smoke in real life, especially smoke coming out of a chimney, mm-hmm. it's a lot more wispy and faint. And if you look up here, this is actually what smoke looks like, or it's a lot closer to how it looks.
It's very faint, and I think oddly, because it's block shape, it kind of fits more. That feels really weird, but yeah, it just kind of feels like, oh yeah, it's still Minecraft, and it's cool. Yeah, I really like it.
So again, another town, and as you were saying, the color in the Shire is very evident, isn't it? You can really feel this is a merry, kind of idyllic society, and that's the kind of feeling you should get in this world. As you start in the Shire, it's merry and idyllic and bright and colourful, and as you go out, things get drearier and darker and a little bit more imposing. And as time goes on, sometimes you'll get some more magical and ethereal locations like Rivendell or Lothlorien, but there's that overall sense of the world being kind of drear and dark, and that's that sense that you get in Lord of the Rings as well.
I imagine that's done both just to change things up, but then also sort of like for the storyline, as the story gets darker,
exactly,
the actual landscape gets darker as well. Now, I wanted to ask this because I don't remember, but you guys in the Realm of Vasten, my S&P, we've sort of stolen your idea of a never evolving world, like a never changing date. Because otherwise you have to redo stuff as the story moves, right? Like if you build a city and then there's another invasion in our storyline, then that means you just have to destroy your city. So that just it seems like a lot of time. You guys are doing that too, right? You have a date.
Yeah, we have like a month and a year. So September 3006 of the Third Age. So it's set 5 years after the end of, 5 years after Bilbo's birthday party, but about 12 years after, or before, sorry, Frodo leaves the Shire. So there's a 17-year gap between that party and when Frodo actually leaves, which the films don't show very well.
I didn't know.
It's a few days later, but actually Frodo is like in his 50s. For most of, when he's in Rivendell and Lord of the Rings, Elijah Wood pretty much was not in his 50s when when he did those movies. So you get that sense that Frodo's very young, but actually he was a kind of quite mature guy by the time he actually undertook the quest.
Hobbits don't actually live. I know Bilbo had his 111th, what was it, 1100th birthday, or
111th birthday.
But that's very old for hobbits, right? It's not like they live to be 200 years old.
Yeah, they live like about the same age that humans do, right? So like if a person was 111 years old and they were still like walking around and talking, you'd be like, wow, that's impressive, and Bilbo was still like fine, and that's why people started to get suspicions about him, and that's one of the reasons he left the Shire, because he realized that he couldn't hold up the gambit forever. So this is Buckleby Ferry, made famous in the movie when the hobbits are running down, and I don't know if you remember, they jump onto this ferry, and the Nazgul are chasing them. You have to cross the river. So this, funny enough, so in the movie they cut here and they go straight to Bree, but there's like three chapters, I think, maybe even 4 chapters between this and then reaching Bree. And one of the things that's described, but they never actually enter it, is this huge hobbit hole. I hesitate to call it a hobbit hole because it's so enormous, called Brandy Hall, on the other side of the river here. It is, you can see, looking at it, it's enormous. It is like a warren. It's the home of the Brandybuck family. So Merry was one of the members of this family. And a long time ago, I can't remember how long ago, their ancestor came here and he started to delve into the side of the hill. And over time, his generations and generations just kept digging and delving and building and turned it into this rabbit warren of a place.
Does this all connect inside?
Yeah, it's all one big place. It's enormous.
Wow.
I get lost in it.
What a construction job you guys did. This is amazing. I'm actually looking around for you can go up a floor somehow here?
Yeah, you can. Not convinced I can tell you how, but we'll get there.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, we'll find a way.
Oh, here we go. Wow. Oh,
there you go, yeah. And
it's not even just like a little ladder. It's like a big sweeping staircase. Oh, this is great. You do not feel like you're underground here. It's just so massive. And again, as a builder, as a Minecraft builder, this hallway curves. Like, who builds hallways that curve, right? No one does. I mean, this is great.
Yeah, there was the real sense that we were trying to get across with this build is kind of how organic it is,
Yeah, like they just dug more when they needed more space, maybe something like that. My goodness. Then boom, probably outside. Yep. I said there's a thing floating in my face.
Yeah, oh yeah. So that's one of the doors that isn't animated. Just that will be. Don't worry. So yeah, that's the entrance on the other side. But yeah, that's you could explore that place for like an hour probably.
Yeah.
And this is Bucklebury, which is the village just outside it. So where the non-Brandy bucks live. And this area here, so you can see it's quite a narrow land. So on one side you've got the forest, the old forest. On the other side you've got the Brandywine River. This is technically not part of the Shire. This is in fact Buckland. It's its own little strange region, ruled by the Brandy buck family in this huge hobbit hole.
I can't. Yeah. The scale, man. The scale of this is just amazing. And like everywhere you look, there's little crop fields, and so yeah, it's just awesome. This is just so awesome. Like it's like every inch of land is something. Well, is this a good wrapping up place for the Shire area?
I think so. Yeah, I think we probably come to a natural end. Again, I would emphasize what we've seen in the Shire is maybe like 5 to 10% of what's been built in the Shire.
That's unbelievable.
Right? And it's maybe 1% of what's been built on the whole map. You know,
well,
it's.
Listen, folks, if you want to see the other 95% of the Shire, all you have to do is go to ArdaCraft.me, go check it out, yeah, you can just log in, and then this crew of people they're so helpful. You can just log in. It's like, hey, how do I get to blah blah blah, or where's a good place? And it was like, oh, hey, let me show you. It's like people, everyone just wants to show off their work. So, yeah, go check it out. Fornad, thank you so much for showing me this just wonderful, amazing world that you've built, and I can't wait to see more. So come back next time for more ArdaCraft tours. I should just do a walking video. I'll just walk around the world.
Like no talking, just some nice music, and some people have done that actually. It's really just pleasant to wander through the world. And I'd highly recommend anyone do that for themselves.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Anyway, well, thank you so much for showing off the world, and we'll see you all next episode. Bye, everybody.